Welcome you all. This is Baron Baptiste. I'm here with David Masters. How you doing, David?
Fantastic. Always better when I'm with you, brother.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Conversations that elevate, that uplift, that bring us back to what's true, what's real within us, and tearing down the walls of mediocrity and building a community here of excellence and challenging the drift, that drift towards mediocrity. You all, we appreciate you, and really the way we grow here is through your participation. Be a part of this transformative journey with us. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, and be at the forefront of change here. Share this with your friends, your family. If you are watching on YouTube, Disrupt the Drift. We drop these episodes twice a week on YouTube at Disrupt the Drift on YouTube. Like the videos, comment in the videos, leave your comments. That helps, and let's create community here. I want to hear from you also. Your questions, your stories, your breakthroughs, anything like that, send it into disrupting the drift at baronbaptiste.com. Disrupting the drift at baronbaptiste.com. So, David, someone sent in a question. It's a very good question. And here it is. So thank you for doing this show. It's helping me in many ways in my life. My question is, in the moments where everything seems to be going my way, work is satisfying, my relationship's feeling solid, I feel fine overall. Yet a single negative interaction with someone, whether it's at the bank, the gym, or with someone at work, I can suddenly shift my sense of balance, leaving me feeling offended, disrespected, and wronged. I take it personally. This emotional turmoil not only disrupts my peace, but also lingers, causing prolonged pain and distress. On top of this, I have a hard time standing up for myself. How do I navigate these abrupt emotional turndowns? And what can I employ to regain my equilibrium and not let these instances overshadow the positive aspects of my life, especially when I struggle to assert myself?
Great question.
What's your take on that, David?
I don't think that people understand the power of being objective as opposed to being in a subjective state. And again, this is an outforming of feelings based on something that you really don't have any control over, which is how other people are going to treat you. And if people are going to treat you badly, you have to learn to be totally objective. But see, there are emotions underlying. Here's a word that's subjective from the Cambridge Dictionary. It says influenced by or based on personal beliefs or feelings rather than based on facts. And when we allow feelings to underlie how we respond to things that are happening that are beyond our control, those feelings often reflect fears that we have. And see, in other words, the first part of that question is I'm doing better and I feel like there are parts of my life that are good. But below that, there is an expectation. And that expectation is met when people don't deal properly or in a good way with the person that wrote in. So you have to look at the idea that you have some lingering resentments toward the way that you're dealing with people. And any thoughts on that, Baron?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, the underlying emotions. So I say that the feelings of being offended, disrespected, taking things personally, those things you experience from those negative interactions are rooted in underlying anger and resentments, which are tied to these false identities within you rather than your true identity, your true self. We've been talking recently in the podcast here about identity quite a bit, the last several episodes, and the not you. And consider it's the not you, that identity and identities, plural, that's being offended. The real you at the core, at your center, is unaffected by what people say or do. It's shifting your perspective from identifying with your reactions as yours to recognizing them as manifestations of these false identities, the false identity, the not you. And the key to navigating these kind of emotional upheavals lies in observation, objectivity. So watching the anger, watching the fear and upset as an external observer almost. You're watching all these internal states getting stirred up as an upset. And as you watch, and it's like the light of God, the light of truth shines in, and you start to separate out you, the essential you, the real identity, your original identity from the people that are saying things that are upsetting you, and within yourself, these false identities, the people outside of you. Let me just say this: this practice, or just, I don't know if it's a practice, okay, but it's more than that. It's just in the moment, being aware, wake up and detached, allows you to see the emotions and as not intrinsic to your true self, but rather as attributes of the false you that found a foothold within you, within your mind, within your being. So every moment of upset becomes an opportunity to discover yourself, to discover about yourself, and to discover about others. And you start to see where others are through observing your own reactions. Let's not even call them yours. It's not you. They're things you have, but there is, you separate out, okay, you have these thoughts, you have these thoughts of being offended, disrespected, wrong. Okay, watch those. Just watch the emotions that come up. Watch. And let me just come full circle, and then I'm going to hand it back to you, David. But when I come back to resentment and anger, consider that you have unfinished business, so to speak. You have from the past, baggage from the past, resentments, maybe beginning with your mother, your father, like right there. It's your reaction waiting to happen when you have these unfinished resentments, and you're identifying with these identities that are not. You essentially are left with living a lie. But as you observe them within yourself and you see these resentments within you, consider the resentments from the past are the glue that keeps all of these false identity. It's a false identity intact. It's a glue that keeps it all together. But as you forgive, and that's the work you need to do, is you need to locate, wait, where am I carrying around from the past that has me be a reaction waiting to happen, an upset waiting to happen? Just throw in the right person or the right player in the right moment to say the wrong thing, and then you're what's being triggered. That's what you have to get to. What's already there, that when you get poked, you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. When someone or something happens and you get squeezed, what comes out? Upset, anger. Where is this? Get curious. Where is this coming from? What do you see, David?
This is from my book called The Present. This is on page 6. It says, allowing stress to affect your mental and spiritual being, you're depleted of unique specialness, your own unique specialness, moment by moment, because you haven't learned to control your response to the pressures of your environment, to challenge irritations and the millions of little stressors that impact you negatively, thus causing impulses to do things that you would otherwise control. Reacting means you lose the path of the present that unfolds the know-how of being your original authentic self, one thought at a time. By staying focused in the present each moment, you become an expression of the higher self and discover what it means to become the true you. Living the gift of the present means learning to find your center, being objective, and having the strength to carry through no matter how painful or challenging the moment is. Being present means no outcome-based thinking, not letting anything that you want, any person or pressure determine what your principles will be or where your moral compass will point. Stress and peace are quintessential opposing spiritual components of life, the yin to the yang. And without temptation, this is what William Prescott said, where there's no temptation, there can be little claim to virtue. And so stress, the pseudonym for stress is temptation. We're always dealing with temptations.
We're being tempted
all the time
to react,
right?
to respond, which takes us off of our inner compass, our true north.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so what happens then? You're letting that external prompt determine where your compass will point.
You're giving away your power.
You're giving away your power in that moment.
You're giving away your freedom.
Yeah.
You're giving away your peace of mind. And consider you have say in the matter of your own responses. Was it Viktor Frankl? Did you ever read that book, Man's Search for Meaning?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a deep book, right?
It is.
And he was in Viktor Frankl. He in Man's Search for Meaning, he writes about his experience in concentration camps.
Yeah.
In concentration camp.
Yes.
And he said they could take away everything from us, our dignity, our everything. He said, but the last thing, the one thing they could not take from us was something about the ability to how we respond. I'm paraphrasing now, but it's how we respond to a situation or an event, an incident. That's the one power we have underlying everything, is that people really have no say over your response to them or to a situation. You bring up thoughts, but consider you're not your thoughts. So if you have thoughts that are coming up about the past, about the future, or about what someone just said or did, and you're lingering in that, as the person with this question said, yeah, I linger in it. I dwell on it. They didn't say dwell, they said linger, but I'm adding dwell on it. It sticks around. Consider you're already living in the past in that moment. And the thoughts and the emotions, all the internal, the body sensations, all those things that are activated in an upset, you're now living completely out of the moment. You're not present. I love the title of your book, David. It's the present.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can get that on Amazon, I think, right?
Yes, that's correct. It's on Amazon Kindle. Yeah.
Yeah. But if there's no past and no future in reality, so coming back to reality, coming back to the moment, get present, and watch, be aware, and start noticing, okay, your feathers are ruffled. And this is perhaps the practice aspect of it, but it's like muscle. You're developing a new kind of musculature, right? The muscle of letting things go. You start seeing you're getting activated. You're getting triggered, your feathers are getting ruffled. You get present, find your feet. Where's your path in life? It's right here. Your path is what you see right in front of you. This is your path. Where your feet are is the path. And get present to the path, the real path right here. Get present to, okay, what you feel in your body, your heart starts racing, palpitations, your whatever body sensations, those are real in a sense, but they're triggered out of something not real. Your imagination, fantasy, you're lost in thoughts, the drama, the story. Come back to, okay, your physical body, but what you'll notice when you watch your body, you start watching those reactions, physical reactions. In that moment, the energy is diffused. And suddenly your feathers that are ruffled, in the moment, you'll start noticing the feathers calm down, they settle down, the upset starts evaporating, and you start coming into some clarity. You're standing in a different place, a different space within yourself to now observe and watch. And then you start seeing the other people, the person who's doing something or saying something they shouldn't be saying or doing. You just see where they're coming from. You can have compassion, you can have empathy, understanding. You just have a greater understanding as something is driving these people, like people that are attacking you or coming at you. You suddenly see they're being used by their identities evil or dark spirits coming through them that they have no control over. But when you react to that in them, you are bolstering that within yourself.
Yeah.
And the way out is now, here, get present.
Yeah.
The way out, get
Most
aware,
people,
watch.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
most people don't understand a single concept that would change their life. And that is that they think that stress is their main problem, but it really isn't. As a matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, as long as you think stress is your problem, in other words, the stressors that are outside of you, you'll never know that it's the way that you allow that stress to affect you. That's the problem. It's not the stress. It's how you allow it to influence you. So
Yeah.
stress itself is benign in
It
everything.
it has no power, right? It's the stress is your reaction to it,
That's it.
to those things,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah, you may have problems, but they're in life and work and relationships, things that happen. But you don't have, you could just see them, okay, as a problem to solve somehow. You just trust yourself, trust the light,
Okay.
what you're guided from, being
So
guided.
most people
Yeah.
are caught up in their heads trying to figure out, and the minute they start to react to some kind of external stress, they're knocked out of their center. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
everything's okay up until that moment. This is what the person is saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's okay up until a point where somebody says or does something to me. And then you become the effect of that cause.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize that cause is beginning to control you right away. Now, and even if it isn't even intended to control you, that cause is having an effect on you, domino effect that's starting to control you and turn you into the person you don't want to be. And what
And
you
now
have to,
you've lost your power, real
you've lost
power.
yourself.
You've
You,
lost yourself.
yeah,
You're divided within yourself. You're split. And now you are giving the power to those outside forces, outside people, outside things. And then there's actually no real power there. Now you're upset. This is another side of it to look at. When you get upset like that, you get a false kind of power. Now you're upset. Now you're making them wrong. Now you're in that dance. And you do get a false sense of power, better than them, moral superiority. You now, in your own mind, you're invalidating them. Then you go tell all your friends about what happened and what that person did or said. But you're still giving all your power to something out there, when in reality, it has no power. You're giving it the power. And in giving it the power, you lose your real power.
yeah.
To be
The,
objective, to be
so
in
the
your
idea,
center. Yeah.
yeah, the idea is this. It's very simple. And this, again, from my book, The Present. The secret to total mastery over stress is so very simple. If you could step back for just a split second and observe your response to any form of stress, in that very moment, everything could change. Unfortunately, most of us will spend our entire lives being slaves to stress. And why? Because once we react improperly to any form of stress, it starts to control us. So, see, the mastery of oneself, it always comes back to this anyway. To be still and know, to stand back and be objective, to watch, to be an observer, as opposed to being, so to be objective as opposed to being subjective. In that moment, you're either objective or you're subjective. And there's a neutral place that you can be. And in that objective moment, the stress just becomes another opportunity as opposed to something that's tearing you down. It's an opportunity to grow. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He says, you know what? The reason why he loves sports is because he said that when a team wins, okay, they win. But when they lose, they have to go and step back and understand why they lost. They have to
Mm-hmm.
deconstruct the reasons why the game was lost.
Yeah.
And it's the same exact thing that life in it and of itself is like a sport, in the sense that when you, let's say you react, okay, step back for a minute and then begin to look at what happened in that moment and see if there's a way to look at how you could have done things differently. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us do. A lot
Yeah.
of us, we go over these conversations that we have, we go over the things that we said
You
or think
play
we
it over and
right?
replay it, and it feeds that inner resentment.
And it can,
And
or
yeah.
the flip side of that is, wait a minute, I know I shouldn't have reacted to that in that way.
Yeah, it's very good. You're pointing to It's all an opportunity. These situations, when they
Everything,
come up,
right?
it
Yeah.
is the opportunity.
Yeah.
You want wisdom? We ask for wisdom in our lives, or we ask for peace, or we ask for freedom. We ask for to be whole and complete. Okay, here is the access. Here is the way. These situations that stress you are the opportunity to discover yourself for yourself in real time, in real situations with real people. It is see it as an opportunity to discover yourself.
Yeah. Look, listen, learning to be objective. And in other words, the only way you can learn to be objective is to realize how subjective you really are, how everybody's yanking your chain and controlling you through the way that through praise or through criticism, it doesn't matter. But when you learn a simple principle, like what the Bible says, be still and know. When you learn this principle, you take on a new or a now perspective toward each event or experience, and then you become immune to the effects of virtually every form of stress. But if you're not living in the now, you're there. In the radio business, we have what we call a delay. And so we play programs in delay so that if somebody calls up and says a curse word, you can just dump that delay. But most of us live in a delayed reaction so that we're not really in the present. We're not living in the now. We are responding not in real time, but in delayed time, because we're somewhere in our heads. Everything feels good, you feel great until something comes along, and then boom, actual reality catches up to you in the now moment. And you were unprepared to deal with that moment. But let's say you live in the moment. Let's just say you're in the moment and you catch yourself daydreaming or drifting away into, and this is what the program's called. It's called Disrupt the Drift. You see yourself disrupting the drift away from the actual reality, the now, the new now in which you have to live.
Yeah.
And so this is how everything changes when you take on a now perspective.
Yeah, very good. And the other thing about this, and the person's question is like, I have a hard time asserting myself in these kind of stressful moments, sticking up for myself, what have you. Here's the opportunity in the now to speak up, and but not from the false identities, to speak up not from the resentment, the anger, the upset, but to speak up in the moment from your center, from the ground of your being. Your knees may, again, it's creating a new kind of musculature. So you're present. You're not coming from anger, resentment, fear. No, you're coming from truth. You're coming from the ground of your being. You're moving, breathing, having your being, and speaking from the ground of your being that 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 allows you to speak from a place of truth. Now, calm, straightforward, straight up, uncensored, say what there is to say. Or sometimes wisdom will tell you, this is just not, I don't need to say anything in the moment. But likely there's something to say in the moment, not, as you're pointing to, David, not after the fact where you're now saying it all in your head, or going to your friend groups or your friends and venting over there. No, in the moment, look at that person right in the eye and say what there is to say. And it's not like a vomit. It's just coming from a place of truth
All right.
and
So,
love, but a higher love that maybe gives that person an opportunity to diffuse whatever's diffuse from, to detach from
well,
whatever is driving them. Maybe not in the moment, but your words spoken from calm space and place of truth and love has a way of working on people, and they start to see themselves. Not all people are even interested in that, but some people, you also then become a catalyst for change. As you're changing within yourself, you give others the opportunity to change as well. You
but
become an influence for
you're
good.
always going to be a catalyst in one way or
Mm.
another. And I call this the hot potato principle. So let's just say that somebody grabs a hot potato out of a boiling pot of water and tries to give it to you. What happens if you don't take it?
I'm left, you're left holding it.
No, they are left holding it. If somebody tries to
If
give you
someone takes it out and tries to give you the hot potato, yeah, they're left holding it.
if you
Yeah.
don't take it, they
Yeah.
still have it. Now they're going to
Yeah.
redistribute it to somebody else because it's burning them.
Yeah.
That's the idea, though. If people could simply see whether it's a like a barbecue coal or a hot potato, it doesn't matter. And so the question is, why do we accept the hot potato? We're not living in the moment. We're not aware that somebody is delivering to us something that's going to burn us, right?
Yeah.
So if you step back in that moment and just see, it's an opportunity to reset your everything in that moment. And without those opportunities, without people giving you those hot potatoes, without people, and people are all around you constantly. There's stressors and temptations of all kinds. See them as hot coals, see them as hot potatoes. You have no obligation to accept it. If somebody wants to give you a hot potato or a hot coal and you say, no, thank you,
Yeah.
then it burns them.
And the how to do that is be aware.
Just
be aware in the moment. Someone's trying to hand you something. Stay in your feet, feel your feet on the earth, look at it straight in the eye, and just let it roll right off you. And so it points to the question that's always here for us is, where are we coming from? What's our source? Are you coming from a higher source of light and truth and love, or are you coming from that place of some kind of inner resentment?
It's programming. We are programmed. We've been programmed our whole lives. And so the question is, why do we take these hot potatoes from people? Because you have unconsciously and impulsively agreed to take a problem that belongs to someone else that you did not have to take on or accept. You have no obligation. You got to realize that.
Yeah.
You've got to see that.
Yeah. No, very good. I think it's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Any last thought, David?
Just learn to see those moments as people trying to give something to you that you have no obligation to accept. That's all you have to remember. And think of it as something like a hot coal that will burn you if you do. And then you step back and you go, no, thank you. You don't get angry about it. You don't have to use a force of energy, emotion, anger to resist it. You simply say, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. And I'll just add that, it is developing. So you've developed some good muscle memory around being defensive.
Yeah.
Around being disrespected, around it's conditioning, as you say. And so now develop the new muscle, a new musculature. And you may likely, the muscle called letting go, the muscle called being in your center, the muscle called speak up in the moment, from calmness, patience, understanding, love. Develop that muscle of letting go in the moment, in real time. The muscle of instant forgiveness. Just a moment, just forgive it, let it go, and be of truth. Be from reality within yourself. All right, you all, thank you if you've gotten this far in the show. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, put in the comments, what do you see about yourself? What are you seeing about this conversation? Put in the comments. Love to see what you have to say about it. Your input right here in the comments. And until next time, stay true, stay bold, stay real, keep disrupting and rising above the drift within your own mind. Keep disrupting the thoughts when you're going into fantasy, drama, yada, yada. Just stay true. This is Baron, your boy Baron, signing off. Until next time, stay bold, stay blessed, and rewrite the narrative of your life. And peace be with you.